everyone, and welcome to week 13 in my Real Men segment. I'm a little bit in the holiday spirit. I don't have my lights up yet, but of course I have my red on, so we're getting close to Christmas here. And like I said, it's week 13. Your playoffs are coming up. A lot of playoffs start in week 14. Some don't start till week 15. But this week, you need to win, and these picks are going to help you out and do that. So I have 2 go hard and 2 go soft picks for you like always. Let's get right into it. And let's go with my first go hard pick, which is running back Doug Martin of the Buccaneers. And he is going against Atlanta's defense. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but he is the second leading rusher in the league this season, right under Adrian Peterson, and he has 1,038 rushing yards so far. So he's looking good. He had those injuries there for a couple years, but he is back on it this season. Now, he only has 3 rushing touchdowns, so I know that's a little bit of a concern, but Atlanta has allowed 13 rushing touchdowns, which is the second most in the league. So this is a week that I think he can get in the end zone. He hasn't gotten in the end zone for quite a few weeks, but he's been getting you those yards, so that's been getting you plenty of points. But I think this week he can get you the touchdown to get you those extra 6 points. And Adrian Peterson had 158 yards and 2 touchdowns against this Atlanta defense last week. Like I say, Atlanta always starts off the season pretty good, and then they start falling off, and that's been happening with their whole team. Week 8, Doug Martin had 71 yards against them, so yardage-wise, he was okay. Didn't get in the end zone, but I definitely think this is a home game for them, and he has been scoring his touchdowns at home, so I think this is a week that he may be having you do the Dougie out there because you're going to be celebrating all those points that you get from him. So let me move it on to my second pick. And my second pick is a Bear. Yay! I haven't really talked about the Bears a ton this season, but wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey, and he is going against the 49ers defense. Now, against that 49ers defense, 5 number 1 wide receivers have had over 100-yard games versus this Niners defense. So Alshon is obviously our number 1 wide receiver, and number 1s are pretty much torching the 49ers defense. Now, I know that he's only played in 6 games because of injury. That's been a problem for him this season. But in 3 of them, he has gone for over 100 yards. So that right there is telling you that when he's playing, he's definitely putting up those stats for you. He's also been targeted 11 or more times in every single game except for 1. So when he's out there, again, Cutler is looking his way. He's trying to get Alshon the ball. I know he always looks for him in the end zone. So this is a week that, again, this is a guy that doesn't have a ton of touchdowns on the season, but I think he can get you a touchdown this week. The 49ers give up an average of 276.8 passing yards per game, and 11 out of their 17 passing touchdowns have gone to wide receivers. That's why I think he can get you a touchdown this week, and I think he can go for over 100 yards. This is a home game for the Bears. Look for this to be one that, coming off that Green Bay win, they are excited to get back on home field and hopefully torch the 49ers secondary. Let me move it on to my 2 go soft picks. These are the guys that I don't expect many points from. And my first go soft pick this week is quarterback Tyrod Taylor, and he is against the Houston Texans defense. Now, I know he's been pretty impressive this week. I'm looking at his stats, and I've been watching how he's playing, and he's doing pretty good. But I don't like his matchup this week against the Texans. In the last 4 weeks, the Texans defense, they have found themselves. They realize that they're the Texans defense, and they have only allowed 1 passing touchdown, and they have 5 interceptions. So they're getting those turnovers, and they're not letting these quarterbacks go wild like they were at the beginning of the season. Tyrod Taylor does not have a 300-yard passing game yet this season. A lot of that is because he runs the ball quite a bit himself, but he tends to either pass for, it's weird, 1 touchdown or 3 touchdowns in a game. He doesn't have any games that he's passed for 2 touchdowns. This is a game that I definitely think he might have 1, but I definitely don't think that he's going to have 3. This is not a good defense for him to be going against. And like I said, Houston's defense have found themselves. In the last 4 weeks, the most yards that they've allowed passing is 228. So I think he might get you around 200 yards, somewhere in there. Maybe 1 touchdown, but nothing to jump up and down about. So, and again, this game is actually in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. They're going to want to get LaShawn McCoy going. They're going to want to run the ball. So again, that's why I don't think he's going to have a ton of passing yards for you. Now let me move it on to my last Week 13 pick. Another go soft, and this is tight end Jason Witten of the Cowboys going against the Redskins. I know Greg already gave you another Cowboy to sit, so maybe we're just telling you to play no Cowboys this week. But he's going against that Redskins defense. Witten only has 2 touchdowns, and both of those touchdowns were in the same week. They were in week 1. As we know, Romo's been out most of the season, and him and Romo have that bromance that we talk about sometimes happens between quarterbacks and wide receivers or quarterbacks and tight ends. And because Romo hasn't been there, Witten has not been putting up the stats that you're used to getting out of him. The Redskins defense have only allowed 2 touchdowns by tight ends, so they are holding them tight and not letting them get in the end zone. And Witten has not gone for over 50 yards in 5 straight weeks. So he's not getting you the yards. He's not getting in the end zone. He doesn't have his Romo quarterback that he loves. So I just don't think that it's a good matchup. It does not look good for Witten. There's not a lot of tight ends out there, but again, you're not going to get the points from him, so you need to go figure something out. So there are the picks for this week. That finishes up our Week 13 show for you all. Good luck this week. Hopefully you clinch and get in your playoffs. I'm already clinched in 1, and I have 2 more that I think I'm definitely going to make it in, just depending on what position I go in, which would mean that I would make the playoffs in all 3 of my leagues this year. So knock on wood, I have a good Week 13, and good luck to all of you, and we'll see you next week.